What's up guys, Ben here bringing you another video today. I'm recording this on Thursday morning and week 2 of the beta is going live in a few hours. So I wanted to put out a video summarizing my thoughts from week 1 of the PlayStation edition of the beta, talk a little bit about some of the news we have coming out of the studios in regards to some of the feedback from the community, and talk a little bit about what I expect or want to see improve for the second week of the beta with us heading over to Xbox and PC. Let's dive in. All right, so first off, I wanted to summarize sort of my thoughts on week 1. If I had to rate it like a 1 out of 10, I felt about the beta, I think it's probably somewhere around an 8. In my original video where I was talking about the beta from a few weeks ago, I broke it down into 5 categories: gunplay, maps, spawns, field upgrades and perks, and other game features, potential roadblocks. I'm going to use those kind of categories again to sort of frame my thoughts on the game. So let's start off talking about the gunplay. I think if we're going to talk about the weapon side of it, it felt fun. Obviously we had a limited selection of weapons, and unfortunately I wasn't able to unlock the MP5 before they fixed the issue, so I'll have to try that again this week if it's available. But using the Hurricane and the M4 and the sniper, it felt good. It felt like a Call of Duty game in that aspect. Obviously there's a lot of attachments, and I know it's been a whole thing in the community, and I love to see more of a classic attachment play, but I was able to kind of get builds that were a little bit more stable if I wanted to play more stand-up heady gameplay. If I wanted to run and gun, I found a pretty good Hurricane build that would give me that speed. As far as the movement goes, again, it seemed like the slide cancel that people found wasn't super useful unless you were really up close to need the camera people. The B-hop seems right now to be sort of the play, and I was playing on default, so I'm excited this weekend to break out my Battle Beaver controller and be able to use that and really get a more of a feel for the B-hop than I was able to do when I was playing on a default PS5 controller. I don't play claw, so it's really hard to do advanced movement on that front, so having a Battle Beaver is going to help me a lot this weekend. So Xclusive Ace actually did a little bit of a deep dive into the beta time to kill comparison. It's actually pretty surprising. When I was playing the game, it did feel a little fast at times, but it didn't seem super unfair like I remember from games that had a little bit mixed netcode. By the way, before we get in that, netcode and the servers felt really good in week 1. I had very few issues at all if I was lagging or skipping in lobbies, so that was really clean. In Xclusive Ace's initial findings, the Modern Warfare 2 beta time to kill for ARs as well as subs is about average if you take a look at all the games. I think the interesting thing though is it's pretty fast compared to the last couple of years, but still slower than Modern Warfare 2019. And here's a comparison for SMGs if you're curious as well. Again, same thing. About average historically compared to all CODs, a little bit faster compared to the last few years. Surprisingly enough, this is actually faster than subs in Modern Warfare 2019, but I remember the whole argument about subs in Modern Warfare 2019, so we'll move on from that. Xclusive Ace also, if you want to check out the full video at the end of this video, talks a little bit about how it may seem like it's faster than what the numbers actually back up. I think in general, look, it did feel a little bit fast. I'm curious how this would feel in a more sort of 20 or 0 ping environment, and that might be a little bit tricky for pro players. Taking a look at sort of the damage range and the TTK, sort of an ongoing conversation between the community and the studio. So we'll see how this unfolds, but for now, it's looking like it's gonna be a little bit quicker than the last couple of years, but not super unfair. If y'all remember Ghost, I mean, that was brutal with the Vector. So taking a look at maps, we only had 4 maps to really play in week 1 of the beta. A couple felt potentially good for competitive. The really only modes that I played were TDM, Dom, and S&D, so no real hardpoint gameplay available just yet, but it seems like it's trending in the right direction. If I remember sort of some of the maps you have to play in Vanguard beta, this feels a little bit better than that. Again, there's going to be kind of an incomplete thought on this until we really see the full set of maps on launch, but the ones that were available Mexico felt like really good 3-lane maps. Might be really good for S&D. We'll see for hardpoint as well, so there's some optimism there, but we'll see what happens over time. Spawns, again, completely incomplete because again, TDM, Dom, S&D, so this is more of a hardpoint relevant thing. We have to see how it plays once hardpoint is available either in the beta, which fingers crossed on that, or in game release. I mean, listen, Dom spawns are always going to be Dom spawns. Even in games that had more logical spawns, the game mode is always wild sometimes. So I'm reserving judgment on that until later on, probably not until after release. So I think getting to sort of the last thing, and this will be sort of our segue into talking about the Infinity Ward sort of community update. Field upgrade perks was interesting. I think this is definitely an area of a lot of community conversation. So you get that sort of 4 perk system where you get 2 to start and you earn 2. it's okay. I feel like though it doesn't really solve like the crutch perk problem you've had in every other COD. So when we start talking about dead silence and sort of the mini map red dot sort of situation, I'm a little mixed on the perks thing at the moment. Field upgrades seem interesting. You've got some new animations with like dead silence and battle rage. Like a lot of the movement stuff seems kind of cool, but some of these field upgrades might be a little and for competitive, although trophies are back, so that's a good addition to have as we move away from the World War II games. And as far as other game features, let's use that now to segue and talk a little bit about sort of the community update. So Infinity Ward over this course this week kind of put out an update sort of addressing some of the bigger concerns the community has. So let's dive in on those. So the first one they address is sort of the no red dots on minimap, and basically their response is, yeah, this is our design decision. We've had this battle a couple of times over the years for COD. I think it's going to be another uphill one. Personally, this is like my biggest issue with the beta. It was just really annoying in the beginning parts of a map, just kind of running around and like having to really focus on footsteps and sounds because you're not really seeing much on the mini map. And once you got UAVs and you got that fourth perk going where you could see the radar and arrows, the game got a little bit easier. But I don't necessarily like agree with this design decision. It makes the game a little bit more random than I would like, instead of really promoting people having like full situational awareness and take a look at the mini map. So I think a lot of people will put out their thoughts on this one. I kind of agree with them. I really would like Infinity Ward to rethink this. Personally, for me, it's almost sometimes a little bit of a vibe killer when you log on, especially to a lobby. If you join mid progress and when teams dominate, like it's super hard to sort of stem that momentum because you can't really see where the enemy is firing from on the map. Second thing is in regards to sort of the muzzle smoke. We talked about that earlier with muzzle flash, and I think that is a little bit of sort of the TTK perception because you fire away and it's hard to see. I'm glad they're gonna fix it, so let's see what it's like when the beta starts. I'll have some follow-up thoughts on this, but I'm glad that they're making some swaps here to make it a little bit more visible. They discussed some UI tweaks. That's going to happen with any game. It felt like at times sort of the settings menu was a little bit clunky because there were like multiple layers. The button combinations for like editing your class and how to like edit your perks felt like a little weird and not like an optimal path. So I'm glad that they're looking at tweaks for the final game release, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to roll them out in the beta per the language here. Big kind of change coming up for perks, at least this weekend, is accelerating the earn rate of some of those tier 3 and tier 4 perks. It doesn't seem like they're deviating from that system. I think we're locked into it, but hopefully they make some adjustments so, you know, it's a little bit better. I might have a fire take on this dead silence thing, to be honest. My personal opinion is that right now, with footsteps audio being super loud, and we'll get to that in a second in this article, I kind of understand where people are coming from dead silence. But if that footsteps audio is adjusted, you don't necessarily need dead silence as a perk. The field upgrade edition actually like kind of makes a little bit of sense if you think about it. I don't think every footstep should be silent, personally, from a design decision, but I do feel like right now, and I'm glad that sort of to segue a little bit, that they're looking at the footstep audio. It's really loud, and I understand people, especially in some of the games I played of S&D, like how annoying it was to play that game mode in the beta, or at least in week 1 of the beta. You're basically just waiting for dead silence because if you move anywhere in the middle of the map, that footstep audio is being broadcasted through walls. So the tweak is really important. I think if they can find the right balance between footstep audio and dead silence, then we don't really need dead silence as a perk, and we can make it work fine with a field upgrade. I think one other footstep kind of audio tweak is apparently they are adding a little bit of a sound difference between enemy and friendly footsteps. This is a big issue for me as well. I get kind of cracked when I play, and it's just, you hear sounds, you come around the corner, you're like, want to pre-fire. Again, no red dots on the minimap, so I'm just kind of taking guesses. And it turns out it's your teammate. So glad they're making that change. Curious to see what it sounds like when the beta starts here in a little bit. And finally, we get to slides. It looks like they're still kind of thinking about how they want to handle sort of the slide cancel that people found during the first week of the beta. And they are going to make some more fluidity movement adjustments. I kind of am happy for this because at times it does feel like the movement's a little bit clunky, but keeping in mind, I played on a default PS5 controller. I'll have more completes on this once I can play with my Battle Beaver and kind of get the full experience, but I'm glad they're trying to make it more fluid because it did feel like at times it was a little bit clunky. So yeah, that's my beta thoughts. It goes live in a few hours, so excited for that. I'll be streaming, so take a look and hop over to my Twitch channel if you want to get my real-time thoughts on that. We'll be grinding pretty much the entire weekend, so stay in for that. Let me know in the comments other tweaks you think they should make for this weekend. I would love to see some new maps. I would love to see Hardpoint come in at some point in this beta, obviously higher level progression so we can unlock some of those new guns, some more attachments as well. Curious to see what new stuff we'll get on that front, but let me know if there's anything else y'all are looking for. As always, guys, like this video and subscribe if you love my content, and we'll see you guys on the next one.